Welcome everyone to the Koochiching County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. Would you help me open with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. First item of business is to approve the proposed agenda with additions and or deletions. We do have one addition that will be placed under county business as item 9, which is to consider approval of the Forest on Roof project construction and design and authorize to go out for bid. So that will be the one addition. Also keep in mind we have our Truth and Taxation public hearing beginning at 6 p.m. this evening. So if you're interested in that, here we'll end that meeting end this meeting, convene that one at that time. Anyway, with that, I would accept a motion to approve the agenda with that one addition.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to approve the minutes from the November 26th, 2024 regular meeting. Everything looked good.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is financial business. Item A, approve November summarized payment listing. B, approve November payroll and ACH payments. C, approve courthouse claims. And D, approve highway claims. And I would accept a motion on items A, B, C, and D.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion on the claims? Payments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to approve warrant voids. We have, 5 voids. Anywhere from 16,625 is a wrong amount to 4242 for the lost warrant over 3 years old. The next one is 150 is a duplicate payment. Next one was 42941, which warrant was lost. And the last one was 5250, which the vendor did not accept checks. Only digital payment on that one. Chair would accept a motion to approve the warrant voids.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to consider to appoint a county extension committee member. And on behalf of the Koochiching County Extension Committee, the University of Minnesota has requested the county board to appoint Mary Jean Becker to a 3-year term as a member of the Koochiching County Extension Committee, beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending on December 31st, 2027. And you see her application and reasons and things like that. She's got some good skills, does lots of naturalist type stuff, so would certainly be a great addition to the Extension Committee.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'd second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. Any discussion?
think we need one more,
You need one more?
I believe, isn't there? One more opening.
Yeah, I think there's one more.
I think I got a candidate lined up for, that wanted to be here on the 18th or some results of that survey, I believe, and then see how that goes. So we probably have one more slot to fill maybe.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Next up is approved trust service agreement with Northland Trust Services. This is part of the managing of the bond, my understanding. If Adam explains it a little bit better, I think they Northland Securities has kind of went through and helped us with this bond experience with this jail addition and the bond funding for it, and I think this is part of their continuation of managing that account. Is that my understanding?
Yep, so we're required to have a registrar or paying agent for our bond to manage all the different bond activities that need to happen, and so we have the same agreement or similar agreement with the 22 bond, and the cost for the paying agent annually is the same.
It is the same, okay.
The original issuance cost is just the one-time cost, and then every year thereafter it's the $495 a year to manage and do all of the compliance pieces with the bond management.
And that will continue when this project is wrapped up and
Yeah, through the life of the
through the life
debt.
of the bond. Okay. And this is for a jail series bond 2024A. So there's also a 2022 as well. So there'd be a couple of ongoing costs here. So so it's $750 and $495 annually thereafter.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. The next item is consider Fairhope County Association 2025 legislative priorities. I have a sheet here of suggested priorities, statewide priorities, and then more regional priorities. Usually we just rank them as rank choice, which one you would like to see, as most important, and then to least important on these here. Secondary primaries, AMC is already kind of taking on housing, childcare, and EMS. We know that. Some of the other stuff is a PILT, which is somewhat specific and benefits our area greatly, whether it be state PILT or federal PILT. Blight, that's also an issue ongoing. There's some language that needs to be cleaned up within the new language that we're working on as well, and then the woody biomass that I know Dale has mentioned it a couple times as a priority to our area. All three of those priorities obviously are important to our area too. So I put them all in number one, but we can certainly rank them, and we don't necessarily have to decide this right now. If you want to turn these back in, I think we have a meeting next week. So if we can get this back before, you can even email to Adam and be the point person. I can take them with me and turn them in when I go next Wednesday or Thursday, I think it is. So let's keep that as a consideration. Or we can set them now if you're comfortable doing it now. Whatever you like. So
I have mine.
you already got yours, okay. Good to go.
I'll just tally them up and send them off to you.
Sounds good, thank you. right, we'll have more to come on that when they get tallied up, so. Next item is to approve door control bid from American Eagle Securities for new jail. We've had some discussion about this. We have these already, they're already on site. They do, I think they're pretty easily integrated into the new system, and
So a little background, so the project has the raceways for all the door control outside the secure perimeter, outside the jail area. The project has raceways or conduits going to all the door hardware. So the door hardware is included. Everything to make that door function how we want it to is included. Not included in the project is the cabling and the actual card reader system. So that's very typical, and what we did at the beginning of the project, we knew that was going to happen, so we assigned a budget amount to handle this. And so we reached out to American Eagle Securities. They're the vendor that we currently have. We have their head end or their equipment in this facility right now. So this proposal extends the system to the new facility, so it's one system. And actually that number is significantly cheaper than we were anticipating. So it seems like a very, very competitive number with the vendor that we're used to. And it's not having, and we won't have two separate systems that we have to deal with. So, any questions on that?
no, I remember that discussion early on as well, and
Yeah.
I think everybody over there is pretty comfortable with them, and they do good work and good
Yep.
job, so. I think they're happy working with them, continue to work with them if we can.
Right.
But it is over the allotted amount that's allowable at the POC, so that's kind of the reason why it's coming here. So just missed it by a few $1,000s. So, but anyway, so that would be the amount. Is consideration here is to approve the bid for the door control system in the new jail and law enforcement center from American Eagle Security Systems as recommended by ACS and the Project Oversight Committee, in the amount of $57,650. We met earlier today and had discussion about that as well. So, and we had discussion in the planning process as well, long before there was any walls and stuff up. So, this is kind of a preliminary. I know Perrin and them, and I think Dean is pretty well used to it and works well with it, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. I think actually, Dean, you kind of manage that, don't you? I think most. Yeah. So, anything to add, Dean?
No, I highly recommend.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. We have the addition that we'll take care of here, seems I remembered.
Cool. You got
Just
8
forgot.
first, right?
Yes, this will be A9. Oh, excuse me, 8 first. Oh, I'm sorry.
8A.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. My
Like
bad.
what?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, perfect. Good evening, Commissioners.
Easy.
All right, so this first part is to approve the separation of part-time corrections officers. Actually, it's roster cleanup. Some of this happened earlier this year. It was brought to my attention from payroll, so we wanted to inform the committee here that these employees are no longer with us. So that would be Aaron Hall, Cassidy Frank, and Dane Olson.
Like I say, the roster cleanup, it kind of goes by availabilities and maybe moving on from.
If they're not,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they're not coming back and fulfilling their jobs, then
Right.
there's trainings and Carrie is obligated to like,
Offer,
that
yeah.
you can't work here, you have to go through the process again and training and all that, so.
Yep.
From what I've been educated on in that process.
Yep, I think that's what I remember as well, so. I would accept a motion to approve the employment separation of those 3 part-time, and thank them for their service too, at least, over the course of time, so it's important. Awesome.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And the motion carries.
And the next one is for, it's not really approval, because we already have the approval to fill the position that Jean Anderson, when she retired, split the positions into a child and a family social services supervisor, and then we also did an adult home and community-based social supervisor. We did have multiple internal candidates, 6 people altogether interviewed. We did make offers out to Ariel Olson for a promotion to be a new child and family social services supervisor. And we are asking to backfill her position. We did not have that approved before, because the last time we just wanted to prove that we could actually do this position. So we didn't have the permission to backfill, so we were seeking permission to give another social worker, essentially, to replace her. We do have internal candidates that we believe will be interested in the position.
So are we gonna hire, are we gonna put right back into the thing, if we hire internally, we just automatically go back for their job too?
We would like to, yeah.
We can add that to the motion, then speed it up for you for a second. If
Okay.
we get the internal, and then we'll go right to the external if there's no
Okay.
other, after the posting period or whatever, so. Great. Did you get that motion?
Yeah, notice to hire, and then we need a motion and a second to approve filling Ariel's social worker position.
And then with the addition to the motion, we would go beyond if Ariel's position, if this is
Oh, sure.
approved, then Ariel's position will be backfilled. Is that what I
Yes.
read it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Roach. Do I have a second?
second.
Seconded by Commissioner McIntyre. Does that sound okay, Brian?
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. And we'll take them one at a time. Next will be approve the appointment promotion to adult home and community social services supervisor. And that was Brad Kokich, correct?
Yep, he is being promoted. Again, we're seeking to fill his position, and then we'll have to backfill that position. We do have, like I said, internal people that we'll probably want to promote. We also have some outside candidates too that we think will apply. So it's the same thing.
Same deal, okay. All right. So accept the motion to approve that employment promotion.
Make motion.
And then also in that motion,
Yep.
go out and follow through with, is similar to the first one.
Yes.
So, okay. Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
I'd second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. And next up is to approve the hire of 2 part-time transport drivers.
Yes, it's more
Is this just a
informational at this point.
notice of hire? Okay.
Yeah, notice to hire.
Okay.
I apologize. I was kind of in a hurry to get these into Margaret before I had to run to an appointment. So
Okay, so we noticed the hire of, who again? Sorry?
Casey Ovison and Jeffrey
Oh,
Carlson.
there you go. All right.
So it's important that we have, especially that female transport driver, so we can be compliant. We have to transport female inmates.
Yes. Yep. All right. Very good. Anything else, Brian? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now the addition. I want to do this addition. See it. Don't forget. Then I remember that I put it in the wrong spot. See how it is? Let's skip it.
We
Come back
talked
to it.
about this before.
No, this is just so dumb.
That's why it slipped right in.
It's terrible. Right, so we're going to move to the, under county business, item 9. The addition is to consider approval of porcelain roof project construction and design and authorize to go out for bid. We had some discussion earlier as well. If you'll see here. I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of go over where we're at. I know we got Dean here, and I hear we're having some water already, so this is absolutely necessary.
My name's Brandon Miller with ICS.
He needs one more.
And Brian, you give us a snapshot of what's going on and what you got planned and stuff over there?
Yes, of course. Sure. like I said, my name's Brandon Miller with ICS. I'm here with Justin. A little backstory on the forest land building. Currently it's experiencing water coming into the office spaces along with water discharging onto the walkways that could cause injuries. So we want to get that addressed. A little bit slow here. I'll go off the pan flow. We're having issues. My connection. So what we'll be discussing are the construction documents, plans, our schedule, construction estimate, our proposed bid packages, and board recommendation. I apologize. Online or here you can't see it, but first plan we see here, it's going over the removals for the undergrounds. That's going to be removing asphalt and concrete sidewalk. You turn your page again to this page that shows the proposed downspout locations where the utility contractor is going to connect to for his undergrounds. Flip your page again. This shows the current roof orientation being sloped to the north. We're gonna new insulation and membrane on to slope to the south. We're gonna cricket it so it flows into the downspouts, providing some roof pavers as well for maintenance crews servicing the air handling unit on the roof, sorry, the condensing unit. And moving on to the next page, that shows the electrical plan, the routing from the panel, and then we're going to be providing heat trace down the downspout so they don't freeze up. That's going to go about 3 to 4 foot below grade. Our construction schedule on the next page. We're going to be holding a pre-bid conference on the 7th of January. Bid opening following on the 23rd. And we're going to award the project after that. For the construction schedule, crews are going to mobilize at the end of May. Roofing activities, undergrounds, electrical rough-ins will start at the beginning of June, with electrical finishes and concrete and asphalt patching concluding at the beginning of August, with a punch list to follow. So basically construction in the summer months.
And we can kind of consider, for everyone out there, we've kind of considered moving a little bit quicker on it. But we just, discussing it with ICS and the team, we really didn't feel that we'd get reasonable bids. Everybody pretty much has their work lined up. This is kind of why it got kind of pushed out a little bit. I know we really wanted to consider trying to get it in this year, but the timing wasn't quite right. So scheduling, hopefully getting better bids, more bids, competitive bids, and then have a nicer timeline too of construction probably. So that's appreciative too. So I know that folks are, I know it's one more spring, if we can make it through one more thing, and we'll get it taken care of. So
Right. Any questions on the schedule? Moving on to the estimate. The exterior shell is the first estimate line I have. That's the roofing, the pavers up on the roof that you saw, and the parapet flashing for $174,695 is what I'm showing. Mechanical, in case we have to raise that condensing unit, we throw in $2,500. It's not expected that we'll have to raise it, but nice to be on the safe side. So we included it. Electrical, that's the heat cabling, the breakers, and then the labor, showing about $20,000. We did get this estimate from the electrical engineer as well. The site work, removing the sidewalk, removing the asphalt, the 8-inch PVC storm sewer, paving, patching it all back in, showing about just shy of $80,000. All our grand total showing $311,265.88. It's just shy of our budget there at $312,500. Showing under budget by about 1,000. So that's,
The first line under the exterior,
Yes.
PDM, does that include the insulation and the demo of the existing?
yep, so up to that 17 square foot, yep, that's the
Okay.
insulation, demo and reinstallation. Any other questions on the estimate?
No more tying into the storm sewer, right? Out
Yes,
in
on
the street.
Jeff. Yep.
Are we vacating the tunnel on this situation too?
Yeah, we actually.
There'd be a lot more. So the structure, are they putting a manhole in there then to
Yeah.
tie into it? Is that what-
Yes. Any other questions?
I know it's needed, the north side of that building is pretty icy all winter long.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Dean looked at it today, and they're experiencing leaks as we speak. It's much needed. So our work scopes that we're proposing, work scope 1, earthwork and utilities. That's removals, backfill, grading, storm sewer, exterior concrete, and asphalt. Work scope 2, the roofing, the EPDM roofing. Work scope 3, the electrical.
Would there be any work interruptions, you think, or?
Interruptions?
Yeah.
I don't think so. If we have it gated off properly, there shouldn't be any interruptions. Might be a little bit of noise on the roof and outside when they're digging, but nothing major. Recommendation, we recommend to approve the construction documents as presented with authorization to proceed with the bidding process. Open up to any more questions.
Any questions, anyone? Dean, you got anything to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
How confident are you in the bids?
The bids. So I have reached out to a couple of contractors. I'm gonna do more of that after approval, but it sounds like we try to get 3 per work scope. And roofing, yeah, it's looking favorable. And then electrically, we have Cantor here, so that's good news. And then for the undergrounds, Wagner's in town. And I'll be reaching out to others as well. But the market is seeming a bit softer than in the past, so I'm feeling good on bids. Get a lot of people calling, looking for work.
Nice. Wishes of the board? We've had a lot of discussion, a lot of conversation, and it's an investment, and I think we've looked at that extensively, and I think we really kind of have checked all the boxes, so. But it is a consideration, and it is a fair amount, so. And, we could get favorable bids as well, so that estimate may not be quite that. So hopefully we get some favorable bids and all the construction going on, and maybe that'll help us out a little bit here. So.
All right, the motion. What do we go for? Bids.
Motion made by Commissioner Hill,
I'll second it.
seconded by Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. I should mention too, this was budgeted in the preliminary budget, so there's funding accountable for this here. This isn't just out of the blue, so obviously it would be contingent upon approval here. And the bids still have to come in. We still have the right to refuse and reject, any bid that's out of hand, so keep that in mind. All right, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
All right, Dustin, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Well, you're thankful you have an inside job today, right?
Yeah, certainly. Today I'm bringing to you guys a whole state service agreement and work order contract. Minnesota IT Services, Minute, in partnership with the Minnesota Cybersecurity Task Force, have launched a whole state cybersecurity plan. And the goal of that is to strengthen local government cyber defenses. They're using funding from the statewide security monitoring initiative as well as the local cybersecurity program, grant program to fund these layered approaches to security. One of the offerings that they have is a managed detection and response, MDR, through CrowdStrike, and we're already using the endpoint of detection response from CrowdStrike. Ultimately, what the contract is for, will allow Minute to have the insight to help us with our future cybersecurity endeavors, and to help us to increase or improve our posture in the cybersecurity realm. The cost for this in 2025 will be approximately $4,400, and in 2026, $6,400. And that's using an approximation of 200 devices, which the county usually sits around there. It fluctuates up and down a little bit, but usually stick around 200 devices. So just looking for approval to enter the contract for the 2-year term.
And reading through it, this is just, they kind of monitor the movements and then they track what's good and what's potentially
Correct.
harmful.
Yep.
And then they let you
So
let
the
you
CrowdStrike
know.
tool will have detections. Currently, right now, the way it's set up, Philip and I get the detections. With this new approach, you'll go to resources at Minute as well, and they'll have 24/7 monitoring as well to see if anything comes in.
And they'll notify you?
Yep.
And then will they take care of any of those issues, or you still kind of be on that end of it?
So we'll still be the main point for mediating any issues, but they will help us find them and point out any that we don't find.
Okay. Many other counties are in this, it looks like, too?
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, it's part of that state and local cybersecurity grant program. So the state was awarded the dollars, and this is how they're distributing it back to the counties and local governments by offering services like this.
Wishes of the board.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Questions? Going once. All right, hearing no discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. Thank you, Judge.
Yep, thank you.
Next up is adopt resolution for tax over and underpayments. And Shelley is going to present.
Yep.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Hello. Well, right now, we don't have a formal policy to address the overage and shortages. A lot of times, people will pay a couple dollars more on their taxes, so we have like a $2, $3 overpayment. And at the end of the year, what we have to do is we either have to write them a check, which they never cash, or very seldom, or after 3 years, we've got to submit it to the state. It costs a whole lot more than the $2 that they've overpaid. Right now, we've got a policy for the underpayments that are automatically written off at the end of the year. So we want to have it in a policy where the overpayments under $5 are also written off at the end of the year, so we don't have to deal with them. We kind of went back and forth between $5 and $10, but we settled on the $5. And that's about what this is about, making a policy.
Sounds good.
Why not 10?
Well, because some people, we thought about the elderly who accidentally pay over, and they are the ones that cash the checks. It's the younger people that don't. So we thought we'd give them a break by just going 5.
And that would cover most of them?
We don't get a whole lot of them, but a lot of times the ones that we get that are overpayments, they don't cash the check. And there the check sits. And then we've got to reach out to them. You know,
Hard to reconcile.
it is, yeah.
What's the timeline for that then, after this policy, I guess, after What amount of time? 3 months, 90 days, 6 months?
To reissue a check?
Yeah, no, for the overage here, just to kind of move forward with it. Is it annually?
Yeah, annually, yeah, in
Okay.
December.
Right.
There's a part in our program that it allows us to to write off the underpayments, people that owe $10 and they pay $8. Well, at the end of the year, we've got the program from MSIS that writes it off at the end of the year. Done, gone. And we want to have a policy where we can do that with the overpayments too, just once at the end of the year, just to settle our books.
Makes sense.
So I can pay $4 less of my taxes and not be delinquent? Is that what you're saying?
I don't
Oh,
know
we'll
about that.
come get you.
Can you use the overpayments to fund some of the underpayments?
Possibly, but what if we use the overpayment and then the person does cash the check?
Yeah.
We'd rather not deal with it. It's a headache. Well, it can be a headache. Not for me, but.
Postage and a phone call and all the other stuff.
Right,
Issuing a check.
right.
So what else can we throw at her here? Come on, she's a short timer here, so we gotta ask some tough questions here.
Weeks, she says. Yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Not pencil you in
She
25.
don't, yeah, it's counting on the fingers now.
oh yeah, only 9 working days.
9 working days. Yeah.
We gotta make this difficult for
Yes,
us.
we do. Well, think of something. Think of something, come on.
I wouldn't expect anything less out of you, Ricky.
Can you go get us a sheet with all the over and under payments?
Actually, no, I can't, yeah.
Oh, very good. But we're just looking to adopt that resolution as a formal policy, and then I think it would obviously make things easier, and then zero things out at the end of the year, so.
Yeah.
Don't have that stuff hanging out there.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Rhodes.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have a
very
great
much.
night.
Right. Next up is consider a letter of support for biochar grant application.
Good evening.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi.
Hello.
So yeah, we were reached out to see if the county board would consider approving a signature on a letter of support for Jake's Sawmill Products over in Badette. They're kind of looking into putting in a biochar production facility, basically to use as woody biomass, primarily their own woody biomass from their existing sawmill, but that could turn into potentially using, dead and dying timber and other materials from other sawmills in the local area. So basically, there's different federal grant, state and federal grant opportunities out there, and so they're just looking to have this generic letter in hand that they can use as they submit these applications for these different funding sources. So biochar basically is you take woody biomass and you burn it in a high heat, 1,000 degrees, low oxygen, and it basically traps most of the carbon in the biochar itself. Biochar is basically a condensed form of charcoal, basically, and at its rudimentary form, the initial market for this stuff would just be as a soil amendment that could go on ag fields. But there's also research that's ongoing that they're looking at using biochar as a additive in concrete and steel production too. So and it can be used as water filtration.
We've been talking about this at our DNC.
Yeah, yep. It's kind of the new thing out there. So the facility wouldn't necessarily be located in Cooch County, but the benefits to Cooch County, as we've highlighted in the draft letter of support, there could be employment opportunities for Cooch County residents. We would have a market for potentially for our timber from this county, especially ash and tamarack, which there's already thousands and thousands of cords of dead tamarack from the eastern large bark beetle that are standing out there that with no home, no market otherwise for it, and then with emerald ash borer kind of knocking on our doorstep when it gets here, there's all the markets that we can drum up for that stuff, the better. So if we can help just by signing a letter of support, I think this is a good venture here. So.
Sounds fantastic to me. Yeah, it's a great opportunity, great benefit for our area, especially our area. So get out ahead of it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'd make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
You should also tell them to reach out to Lovedown, the guy that's the head of the RDNC, Ted.
Okay.
And I'm sure Ted would probably do a letter of recommendation for it too.
All right, that's good to know. I'll let him know that. So.
Any other discussion, questions? You know a little bit about this stuff.
I should probably be quiet.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's right there. It's, at the very least, it puts out there that Koochiching County supports that type of project in northern Minnesota and it's needed. So whether it comes to fruition or not, who knows? But it's coming up on 10 years that Jake has been there and he's still running hard. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're looking for in this country is people that want to make it go.
So the city of Minneapolis is actually looking at putting in a biochar facility of their own just to use up all of their wood waste, and obviously emerald ash borer is already in the Twin Cities area, so they get a ton of that material generated. And so I think earlier this summer, I think they were looking at some grant opportunities to basically install a smaller scale production facility is what Jake Sawmill is looking at, and then they would just basically would get rid of their all of this woody material, that they infected woody material, and then they would give it out to city residents for their gardens and whatever else. So
Sounds good. Any further discussion, questions?
It could, although the bugaboo is treated timber, but otherwise demolition stuff.
yeah,
I think
that's the other thing. Clean demolition material could potentially have a home in that too. So non-treated dimensional lumber from tear downs and whatnot.
Might be a small part, but it's
Every little bit helps.
when you're looking at no landfill to take care of demo or high cost. Eventually they'll have to do something.
Well, I think they're in that situation right now. So I think we've had discussions with Matt about that over there, and I know they'd have to sort it and whatever, and that's a little, like you say, the bugaboo of it all is sorting it and separating it out, so. But like you say, yeah, it does definitely help, especially if you got nothing, better than nothing, so. Get rid of that stuff, grind it up and give it away, so. Yeah, that's definitely a good option for them. Anything else? We have a first and a second. Thank you, Nathan. Hearing no other discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks.
Right. At this time here, we're public comment. Do we have anyone online or in person for public comment? I'll just remind everyone here that we have our Truth and Taxation public hearing beginning at 6 p.m. And we will convene that meeting at 6, and we are required by statute to be open till 7 p.m., correct? Or is it public comment and then?
I don't think there's a length on this one.
No length, okay, excuse me. So we'll take public comment in consideration at that time. So any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. No other business? No other business. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we are adjourned.